In today's video, we're going to take a look at the RX 580 2480 SP, which is one of the best budget GPUs you could possibly get, and it's one of the most popular GPUs in the used market, and especially in Iraq. Almost every PC shop has at least one of those. Without further ado, let's take a look at this thing. The RX 580 was released in 2017, so it's around 9 years old by now, but despite it being old, it still performs very well in modern games, just like your mom. The PC that we're going to use for benchmarks is my personal build, which has a Ryzen 7 5700X. The motherboard is an ASRock B550 Pro 4. The RAM is 32GB from Corsair Vengeance. The storage is all SSD. So this GPU has no excuse for any bottlenecks whatsoever. Let's get started with the benchmarks. And the first game we have for today is Cyberpunk 2077, and we're getting around 60 frames per second on a mix of low and high settings. So the experience is very good for a GPU that only costs around $50. I don't really know what to say. I mean, 60 frames per second in Cyberpunk, it's a pretty lovely experience. Next up, we have Forza Horizon 5, and we're getting around 80 frames per second, which is absolutely lovely considering that we're playing on 1080p, and I did put the settings to low, but some of them are high, things like the textures, etc. And we're getting a good experience in Forza Horizon 5. Next up, we got Red Dead Redemption 2, and we're getting around 60 frames per second. The GPU temps are absolutely great, around 52 degrees, because the one that I have has great cooling. 60 frames in Red Dead Redemption 2, that's absolutely lovely. Next up, we got Counter-Strike 2, which is a competitive game. We're getting 200 plus FPS. Sometimes it drops to around 180, but overall the experience is very good in Counter-Strike 2. I did put the settings to low, but Counter-Strike 2 is one of the games that you usually put to low. You don't really look for graphics in Counter-Strike 2, you look for frames, so that's why I put it to low. Next up, we have Ghost of Tsushima. The GPU is being utilized 100%, and we're getting around 65 FPS. I did put almost everything to low except for the textures, and I did put FSR on quality. So the graphics is not bad. The graphics is really good. The frames are very decent for a story game, you know? You're not gonna look for 100 plus FPS on a story game unless you're a maniac. Next up, we have Horizon Forbidden West, and we're getting around 55 frames per second. The 1% lows do drop to 43, 42 sometimes, but those drops aren't awful and they don't happen a lot. So far, I'd say this $50 is one of the best $50 you can possibly spend in your life. Next up, we have Dying Light the Beast. This game is so freaking gory. I just really hope YouTube doesn't give me a demonetization for this one, but despite that, we're getting 30 FPS, which is not the best experience, but for a game that is a story mode game, you're not really looking for frames, you're just looking for stability, and this game here is absolutely stable. As you guys can see, the 1% lows are 31, so it's great, it's stable, it's smooth, there are no hiccups or issues with Dying Light the Beast, despite it being a 2025 game and the GPU was released in 2017. So the GPU is old, but it's still gold. Next up, we have GTA V Enhanced. We did put everything on very high, and I did enable FSR and set it to quality just to squeeze a little bit more frames out of it, and we're getting 65 frames per second, around 64 on average. There are no drops, no hiccups. The experience is absolutely flawless in GTA V Enhanced. Next up, we have Metal Gear Solid Delta. This game is super heavy, by the way. It's a 2025 game, and we're still getting 30 FPS. Lowest settings, yeah, so it's not really the greatest experience in terms of graphics, but 30 FPS in a story mode game, I wouldn't expect or wish for too much more. Next up, we got Silent Hill 2. We're getting 25 frames per second, which is not great, but it's not awful, you know? It's playable. It's actually more than just playable. You can absolutely play this game and enjoy it on the GPU, despite it being super cheap and old, but it still runs games very well. And by the way, Silent Hill 2 is not great in terms of optimization. Next up, we got Silent Hill F, and we're getting around 40 FPS on the lowest possible settings with FSR quality. So yeah, the graphics looks like potatoes, but we're still getting decent FPS, 30 plus most of the time. 1% lows do drop to 20, but despite that, it is absolutely playable with no issues whatsoever. Next up, we got one of the worst games in terms of optimization, which is Stalker 2. We're getting 40 FPS, which I just don't even know what to say. This GPU is only $50. I just can't ask for much more out of it. We're playing Stalker 2, which is one of the heaviest, worst possible games that you can run on any GPU, let alone a budget GPU, and despite that, we're getting 40 plus FPS. What more could you ask for? And last game we have for today, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. We're getting 48 FPS, around 50 on average. I just don't really know what to say, to be honest. This game was released in 2025, I think. It's super heavy, it's very GPU heavy, and despite that, we're getting really good frames. This game is not just playable, no, it's great. It runs absolutely great on this GPU, despite it being almost 9 years old. So, to summarize this video, do I recommend buying this GPU? Only if you're broke. Yes, I absolutely do recommend buying the RX 580 if you want to play competitive games, things like CS2 or League of Legends, any competitive games that does not really have super heavy graphics. I do recommend this GPU for gaming, but I do not recommend this GPU for content creation because most of the time you're gonna need the NVIDIA encoders, so I wouldn't really recommend this GPU for content creators or for video editors, etc. But for broke gamers, absolutely go for it, bro. It's a great GPU for the value, and in my opinion, it is the budget GPU king. There is no GPU at this price that gives you even a close performance. The closest GPU that I can think of from NVIDIA that gives you similar performance is maybe the GTX 1060 or the 1070, but those are really expensive compared to this one. And so, in conclusion, I do recommend this GPU for broke gamers. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.